In today's video, we're going to talk about some of the weirdest Major League Baseball stadiums ever. The first one is the Polo Grounds. The weirdest part of it is the shape and dimensions. The left and right field lines are very short, but center field is extremely far. In fact, left field was just 279 feet from home plate, and right field was just 258 feet. The distance gets further and further until center field, which goes out in the middle to 483 feet. Another weird thing was how the bullpens were on the field in the outfield. The Polo Grounds has become a popular place to play in the video game MLB The Show. The stadium was home to many different sports teams over the years. Here's a list of just a few of them: New York Giants baseball, New York Giants football, New York Yankees, New York Mets, and New York Jets football. The stadium opened in 1890 and closed in 1963. Sadly, it was demolished, but there were many great memories there. Borchert Field was located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and as you can see, it looks very similar to the Polo Grounds. The left and right field lines were just 267 and 268 feet, and to dead center it was 392 feet, but to left and right center it was 435 feet. The field was the home of the Milwaukee Brewers way back from 1888 to 1894 and from 1902 to 1952. It was also used for hockey in the wintertime, which is a reason why it had its strange shape. There are no seats other than right behind home plate and in center field. It was demolished in 1953, and there is now a highway that goes where it once was. Next is Wrigley Field, the home of the Chicago Cubs. It is still currently used and is the second oldest MLB stadium. It opened back in 1914. Wrigley Field is a very interesting ballpark. First, it has ivy on the outfield walls, which covers brick. It also has some strange seats because of how old it is. Wrigley Field used to not have any lights, and only day games could be played there. They finally got lights in 1988, but they still have a limit on the number of night games that they can have. Because of this, most of their Friday home games are played during the day. The Chicago Bears of the NFL also played at Wrigley Field for many seasons. Next is Wrigley Field again, but this one was in Los Angeles. It was open from 1925 to 1969 and was also called Wrigley Field. It was the home of the Los Angeles Angels from 1925 to 1957. At that time, the Angels were a minor league team for the Chicago Cubs. Later on, the field was used again for the Angels when they were an MLB team in the 1961 season. The capacity was a little over 20,000. There was mainly two large upper decks wrapping all the way around behind home plate and down each foul line. Besides that, there wasn't really much seating, just a little bit in right center field. Exhibition Stadium opened in 1959 in Toronto, Canada. Originally, it was the home of the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League. When the Blue Jays came to town, they played there as well. The two teams shared the stadium for many seasons until the Argonauts stopped playing there in 1988 and the Blue Jays left in 1989 for the Sky Dome. Because the stadium was built for football, it was kind of weird looking for baseball. The biggest thing was right field, how there was a temporary fence set up and the seats just kept going. The capacity was over 50,000 for football and about 40,000 for baseball. Gerry Park is another stadium in Canada. It's located in Montreal, Canada. The Montreal Expos played there from 1969 to 1976. The field first opened in 1960, but was not originally built for professional baseball. Gerry Park was a nice stadium, but did not look like the typical MLB park. The capacity was 28,000 and the smallest in Major League Baseball. Similar to Exhibition Stadium, the right field was kind of odd. There was also no upper deck at all in the stadium. The Expos played there until 1976, and then moved to Olympic Stadium in 1977. Today, Gerry Park is used as a tennis stadium. The Oakland Coliseum is currently the home of the Oakland Athletics. The stadium opened in 1966 and has been home to the Oakland Athletics and the Oakland Raiders of the NFL. The Raiders had two stints playing there, one from 1966 to 1981, and the next from 1995 to 2019. Since then, they moved to Las Vegas, and the Athletics might do the same, but for now, they continue to play games in the Coliseum. The fact that it was made for both football and baseball is what makes it so strange. There's a very large amount of fallow ground for baseball, and the dugouts are at a little bit different angles than they are at most fields. When the stadium was used for football, the infield dirt would be right in the middle of the field as well. It has become one of the stranger MLB stadiums. The Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum has had many events in it over the years, including the Olympics. The stadium opened back in 1923 and has been the home of USC football ever since. It was also the home of the UCLA Bruins for many seasons, the Los Angeles Raiders of the NFL from 1982 to 1994, and the Los Angeles Rams. They played there from 1946 to 1979 and from 2016 to 2019. But it was also the home stadium of the Los Angeles Dodgers from 1958 to 1961. When the Dodgers first moved to New York from Brooklyn, they needed a place to play, and the Coliseum is where they chose. The field was very strange for baseball though. The distance to left field was just 251 feet. There was a 42-foot screen put up in left field because of this, but it still looked very odd. When Dodger Stadium was complete in 1962, the Dodgers moved there, but they returned for an exhibition game there against the Red Sox in 2008. It was very weird to see a baseball game being played there, but the attendance for that game broke records with a crowd of over 115,000. Next is where the Dodgers played before the Coliseum. When they were in Brooklyn, they played at Ebbets Field. It opened in 1913, and the Dodgers played there until 1957. This was a classic baseball stadium with two decks going mostly all the way around it, but in right field, it abruptly stopped. There was a tall fence that separated it from a street. It looked very strange, but also cool. The capacity started out at just 18,000 in 1913, but it was expanded 8 times and was over 30,000 in the 1950s. The stadium was also home to 3 NFL teams from the 1920s to the 1940s. Finally, we will talk about Fenway Park. This is the home of the Boston Red Sox and currently the oldest stadium in Major League Baseball. It opened back in 1912 and is very strange for many different reasons. The first would be the crazy outfield dimensions. Left field is closer than most fields because of a road right behind it. Because of this, there's the Green Monster, which is a 37-foot tall fence that has a scoreboard in it. On the other side, in right field, is the pesky pole, which is the foul pole in a really weird location. The rest of the outfield walls are strange as well. The overall ballpark is small and fans are very close to the action. There are some weird seat angles as well. Fenway Park has had renovations over the years, but it's still very interesting and has kept the same feel.